Whether you like his politics or not, Donald Trump has been great for the business of politics. He draws plenty of attention at rallies, on TV, or on social media before he got banned. That has turned into big bucks, especially campaign donations, and that cash is still flowing even now that he's out of office. According to CNBC, the former president's Save America PAC had $85 million in its coffers last month. That is 10 times more than it had 4 years ago. ProPublica reports that he has attracted a new group of wealthy mega donors. They're different from the well-known longtime donors like Steve Wynn or the late Sheldon Adelson. This new group increased their political contributions at least tenfold since 2015, when Donald Trump announced his campaign. The Republican Party has been trying to draw deep from the former president's fundraising well. It held part of its spring donors retreat at Mar-a-Lago. And being a friend of Donald Trump seems to pay off. Some of his closest allies on Capitol Hill took in large fundraising hauls in the first quarter. Missouri Senator Josh Hawley was the first to object to certifying Joe Biden's win on January 6th. In the first 3 months of 2001, he raised $3 million. Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz raised $1.8 million. Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia raised $3.2 million. That is a lot for a freshman lawmaker. Gaetz and Greene are apparently going all in. Their America First tour is, after all, a fundraising tour. Granted, it's still possible to raise big money without going this route. GOP House Conference Chair Liz Cheney and anti-Trump Congressman Adam Kinzinger each pulled in more than $1 million in the first quarter. Though, arguably, some of that money comes from people who like that they oppose Donald Trump, so he still factors in. As the party looks to its future, how much will the financial draw of pro-Trump politics shape its path? Joining us now are former Republican Congressman Carlos Curbelo of Florida, and Rina Shah is back with us. Good to have you both with us. Carlos, we mentioned that the RNC has been doing fundraising at Mar-a-Lago. Donald Trump's relationship economically has not always been very friendly. Back in March, he demanded that the RNC stop using his name in its fundraising efforts, encouraged supporters to give to his PAC and not to other organizations. The RNC said that it had every right to use his name. What is your sense of this financial relationship between Republican politics writ large and Donald Trump?
Joshua, short term, it can work out for the Republican Party to have this relationship of convenience with Donald Trump. They can raise money off of him. Obviously, he excites a significant part of the Republican base. He's a celebrity, and the Republican Party has tied itself, in a way, handed itself over to Donald Trump. And short term, this might work out. I mean, Republicans could win the House next year. It's a real possibility. However, long term, to build a political party on the base of a person, an individual, who fundamentally only cares about himself, which is why he, a couple months ago, as you said, told the Republican Party they couldn't use his image or likeness, they couldn't use his name, that only he could do that. To build a political party in a nation where there are only two, to build one of those two political parties on the base of a highly selfish, unstable individual is a losing strategy. Does it make sense? Let's cast aside any value judgments or any moral questions here. Strategically, it makes no sense, and it is a strategy that is doomed to fail.
Well, Rina, I wonder if it makes maybe a little more sense than Carlos would believe, at least in a two-party system or two major party system. You gotta say one benefit, if it is a benefit, of having Donald Trump as one of the defining factors of our politics is it makes it real easy to know what you're picking. Coke, Pepsi, Jets, Sharks. You know exactly what gang you're snapping for. He clarifies things in a way that makes it really easy to say, yes, here's my money. Yes, here's my time. Yes, here's my viewership. He has clarified it in a way that I think some moneyed interest would be afraid to go back from, because that funnel of funding is so steady, it's hard to pull away from once you're used to it.
It's so steady, Joshua, that I can tell you as a former political operative, this is the way that it's done now for Republicans. The messages, the deluge of messages that the average registered Republican gets about having to support Donald Trump, having to hear from the Republicans about how the election was stolen from them. This is what they make money off of. It's good for them. So of course the RNC is going to fire back. How else are they going to raise money if they don't use the name of Donald Trump? And let me take this a step further. Those who have political ambitions, like Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, who I've been friendly with over the years as a millennial like me, she is even looking further. She was the first Republican female congress member that I know turned her leadership political action committee into something that helped Republican candidates that were women. So I saw that and I thought, wow, what a novel approach here. And everybody applauded that. Everybody said, wow, Elise is really doing something unique here. This is how we will get more Republican women into Congress. This is going to change the game. She's going to take this a step further. Watch her. She is really going to now go hard if she does get this spot as number 3 within the House caucus, as conference chair. She is going to go even tougher and say Donald Trump is with us on all this. I assume there will be a relationship with women for Trump. This is the kind of thing they need. The numbers have been so good that Marjorie Taylor Greene had over 100,000 donors give her that $3.2 million. And Joshua, that was more than she raised over the course of her campaign. So how were they to walk away from this? Let me tell you, they're not going to. This is good tactics for them.
Carlos, I wonder if for the future of the Republican Party, and we should be clear, if the Republican Party wants to make itself the party of Donald Trump, it's America. It's a free country. They can do that. That's their choice. It may be distasteful to some, but hey, if that's the party you want to have, then have it. I wonder if the money may be in some ways kind of a diagnostic tool in terms of the future of the Republican Party, kind of the way it was with Bernie Sanders and the Democratic Party, how he could kind of brag that like the average contribution is $27 or whatever it was. And he was able to kind of use that as a point of pride, right? Like, I don't need the big money. I've proven that I can play the same political game and show just how much populist support I have in a way that you can't argue with. You have to accept the size of my political base. I wonder if the future of Republican politics, if there's to be a counterpoint to Donald Trump, is going to have to involve someone who can play the money game as well, who can say, I'm not just going to beat you ideologically, I have to beat you financially if I want to talk about any other future for the party besides a pro-Trump party.
Well, Joshua, I think there's an important point in everything you just said, which is that Donald Trump did teach Republicans that political parties can be and probably should be popular, that they should be interesting, that they should offer people something more than economic principles or policy principles. And certainly the Republican Party can learn from that, because many would argue, and I think they could argue convincingly, that before Trump, the Republican Party was a bit stale, had trouble connecting to certain kinds of people. Without question, while Donald Trump has scared some Republicans away, he has also brought in other people who maybe had never voted Republican before or only a few times throughout their lives. He did bring them into the party. Now, the issue is that this is still a short-term strategy for Republicans, because long-term, there is no market for Trumpism in the United States. If you look at rising generations of Americans, Donald Trump is not popular with young people in this country. As more and more of those people become part of the electorate, this idea of tying the Republican brand to Donald Trump is very dangerous, and in my view is doomed to fail, because there's just no market for it. And by the way, Donald Trump never won majority support from the American people. He got very lucky in 2016 that he faced an opponent that had many challenges, and he was able to just barely squeak by. In 2020, he got beat convincingly. So again, is this what you want long-term for your party? I don't think so.